Another episode of Millionaires Are Made, where we believe you can grow to be a millionaire in all 6 aspects of health. That's right. Every Wednesday, we share tips on how to improve your physical, intellectual, spiritual, mental, financial, and social health. Today, we are focusing on how to improve your social health with communication. This might be the single most important topic of the year. How to improve your social health with communication. If you have never seen Millionaires Are Made, this is the show built on the fundamental beliefs that every person you meet knows something you don't, and there's something to be learned from everyone in this big, beautiful world. We are on a mission to teach the world how to grow into the healthiest, happiest millionaires in all 6 aspects of life. So we got 3 awesome guests to give 3 awesome tips on how to improve your social health with communication. Now, in the spirit of authenticity, to try to remove as much bias as possible, we do not talk about our tips or advice before the show starts. So when a guest comes on and shares their advice, it's going to be our first time hearing it as well. Audience, viewers, people that are watching, this show is an interactive show. If you ask questions or make comments in our chat, we will put them live on air and answer them. So feel free to do that. And during this time, I would like to shout out some of our followers. If you want to be shouted out on our show, just got to click that follow or subscribe button. On Facebook, Jennifer Jenkins, you are awesome. Thank you so much. On Instagram, Pamela, thank you for following us. TikTok, Keep It Blunt. And on YouTube, Sean Bemis, thank you so much. You guys are awesome. Guests, we are always looking for 2 massive things: guests to talk on our show and topics. Now, we would know you have something to share with the world, but if you're not quite ready to be a guest, maybe it's a topic that you would like to hear. That link is being dropped right now. Please submit your guest info, and please submit any topics you have. We will go make shows out of them, so you can learn from experts on whatever you might be struggling with. All right, next up, merchandise like this awesome shirt. Go grab yours now. We'd love to see Millionaires Are Made merch all around the world, just like all of our guests. That link's being dropped right now. Just click it, grab one, and you can look awesome too. Our next link we're going to drop is my one-on-one growth sessions. I love to give back and help and watch people grow. So if you want to sign up and talk one-on-one, that link's being dropped right now. Huge announcement. Starting in like a month and a half next year, we will continue doing Millionaires Are Made, but we will be launching our next rendition, which will be our Billionaires Are Made show. So we're launching a brand new show, lots of changes coming. We're going to get even more in depth on our topics. It should be fun. We're only doing one of those episodes per week. So make sure you tune in to Billionaires Are Made as well as Millionaires Are Made. And before we bring out our guests, we got some sponsors to talk about. First off, we have Sarah Jones, who is a crazy awesome woman that used to be in debt, buried in debt in her failing marriage, and dove deep, wiped it all out, and now has learned all the financial foundations to be a financial coach for couples, individuals, and small businesses so they can have fun, healthy money habits. Next, we have Biz by Right, which is like the Tinder for those wanting to buy and sell businesses. They find cash flowing deals, vet them with AI wizardry, and connect buyers and sellers faster than you can say due diligence. Our next sponsor is Brian Parana, who founded the Call to Rise, the ultimate 100-day fat loss challenge for men over 40. Drop 20 to 30 pounds, skyrocket your energy, and transform your body with personalized nutrition and strength training. And our final sponsor for this episode is Brian Wright, who founded the Ultimate Achievers magazine, where you can get in front of high-level entrepreneurs and personal growth leaders. Go check that out and find him and say hi. He also is great at helping you publish your book if you are thinking of doing that. So that leads us to our first guest that we will be bringing out. He is one of our favorite guests. His name is Jeremy. Jeremy, tell us, who are you?
Hey guys, how you doing? Good morning. I am Jeremy Roderick, men's consultant, author, catalyst, make things happen for high-performing husbands who are successful at work but find those strategies, they're not working at home, and it's actually creating more distance and more headache and more heartache. So I help them to figure out how to create that peace and that passion and that playfulness at home. And it starts with the way they communicate. So today's topic, perfect.
It's going to be great. We're going to have to make sure we keep Jeremy in our 5-minute time frame. Otherwise, we'll be here for hours. But the
I'll
discussion
set a
after.
timer.
All right, Jeremy, if I wanted to improve my social health with communication, what tiny piece of advice would you give me?
Thing I would say is take a deep breath and slow down. And just that moment, like if you actually do it with me, take a deep breath and just slow down. You come into the room, you come into your body, you come here. And believe me, I talk fast when I get excited. I get so excited, I want to go super fast. I have so much stuff that I want to say and I want to get into your head. But when you talk like this, you tend to take me more stress. Dude, chill, bro. Slow. It's okay. There's time, right? And that's it. Is that people think communication is about understanding, and it's not. Understanding is part of the deal. Communication is really about comprehension. What you say, what you're tossing to the other person, if they truly comprehend you, what you're sharing will impact their behavior, it'll impact their life, it will impact their direction, their momentum, because they get you at a very, very deep level. Right? A lot of couples, they think they have a communication problem. And no, you guys aren't connecting because you're so busy defending your position, justifying, rationalizing, or getting ready to rebut or reply to what the other person said. You missed what their heart was telling you in the words that they chose because you didn't like the structure of the words. None of that matters. It does kind of, but it's really what the other person receives. So slow down. It's like eating food, savor the moment rather than just eat it now, taste it later, private. Let's go, maggots. We got work to do. And that's a challenge for a lot of high-end guys is they are busy producing, working. Slow down a second and savor the moment.
Question for you, Jeremy.
Mhm.
If it's a somewhat heated argument or disagreement, whatever, if someone said to you, can you please pause and take a breath? Would that anger you more, or do you think that would help solve things?
It can be a moment of connection. If the other person, again, go back to comprehension, if we can do it with rapport, you know what? I really want to understand what you're saying, but I'm full up to here with me. So I'm going to take a step back. Give me just a moment to get myself back in alignment, and then we can revisit this because I really do want to figure this out with you. But my head is coming up with too much stuff. I can't fully hear you. And so what I've just done by taking a step back is I moved away from the argument, take a deep breath and center, and it's all I statements. I want to understand you. My stuff is coming up. Give me a moment, please. Because it's that this is unproductive. I'm going to say what I feel, which doesn't always mean it's real. Right? There's what we know to be true, but in the moment we're going to say what we say, right? A lot of time I work with parents and couples and they're spewing words that their parents said to them. And inside their head, they're like, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up. But the words are coming out because they're locked in a pattern. Their nervous system is in fight or flight, and they are on the war path. And I've got to get this out, and I've got to get it right, and you've got to understand me, and I've got to. And they're so just up in this. It's like, whoa, take a deep breath, right? So when I work with couples, hey, let's establish this as a ground rule when we're both in a calm, cool place. If I do this, this means I need 5 minutes because I'm about to say something really ignorant, and I don't want to do that. That's not fair to you. So let me do this. And if we can respect that boundary, 5 minutes, we separate, breathe, come back. Thank you for giving me that moment. Here's what I'm understanding. What am I missing? And it's all I statements because we're taking ownership of what we are receiving because that's all that matters at the end of the day anyway. What you say is trivia. What they receive becomes their gospel. It becomes their, because whatever they receive is what they're going to understand, and it's what their behavior is going to be built off of. So if that sequence is broken, cool. I'm hearing you say this and I'm taking it to mean that. Am I right or did I miss something? And now I'm asking for the feedback. And all of a sudden that opens, because how often do you get that in a highly charged, heated emotional conversation where someone says, I think I'm not hearing you completely. Can we take a step back for a second? And you're like, damn right, you're going to listen to me. You're right, I am. I know you're saying something important. I'm locked. Can we come at it a different way? And you can even take a sidestep as you begin that new conversation because we're both locked in a position with each other and we're fighting. You know, when I heard it here, this is what, but can you say it again? And this is a physical disassociation in three-dimensional space. You're like moving out of the argument to take a new angle. You're helping to reset your own nervous system as well.
Jeremy, where in your life journey did you learn that advice?
Martial arts, because it's all about the angle. And if your angle is correct, the punch, the kick, the choke, it's effortless. And when your angles are incorrect, it's work, it's struggle, it's effort. So if you can line things up, boom, it's just a perfect moment. Pow. You know when you've said something and it lands on someone's heart and you can feel them open and you feel it and you're like, that was really smart. Damn, I gotta write that down. Right? So in fighting, it's that energy. Here's my point. Oh, okay, here's my counterpoint. And so it's very visceral, but then how do we take that into our mental life and our emotional life?
Awesome. I love it. Thank you so much, Jeremy. We're going to move on to our next guest. We'll
Yes,
be
sir.
bringing Linda up, and we'll bring Jeremy back out at the end of the episode. Linda, tell us, who are you?
I am a real estate investor, but I'm also an author, a filmmaker, and I also do intuitive coaching and instruction. So I have my hands in a lot of different things that I do. So that's mainly I'm a real estate investor.
Okay, love it. Linda, I've got an important question for you. If I wanted to improve my social health with communication, what tiny piece of advice would you give me?
Well, I think it's learning to listen to someone else besides just ourselves, because often when we're communicating, we're only hearing our own words, our own goals, and also defining the goal of whatever the communication is about. Because if we're not on the same page with the goal of our communication, then we're talking two different languages here. One can go off in the deep end about something and your goal is something else. And so you think that it's about a whole different angle than what it really is. So I think listening, but also establishing our goals is vitally important in communication, but also being just really aware of the diplomacy and respect that we're giving one another's opinions as we're communicating, because we are very different people from one another. And I think we have to honestly look at how our biases contribute to the way we communicate and how we're trying to actually convince someone of something more than we're actually willing to listen to them and allow them to have their own views and opinions. So I think that there's an open-mindedness that has to be present in all communication in order for it to be really healthy communication. Otherwise, it's just dominance and trying to convince people of things. So those are some things that I listen and set goals of what your communication is about.
I love it. Awesome. Where on your life journey did you learn this, Linda?
Well, I do intuitive sessions for people, and I had to really get specific in my ways of communicating with them, because oftentimes they would come with a question, but it wasn't very defined. So we had to really get to the heart of the matter. How is an answer to this question going to benefit you? What is it you're really wanting to change in your life? So we would explore the question itself immensely to get to that goal prior to even doing the intuitive work that I would do with them. So that was a big game changer in being able to communicate more effectively with the individual. Now, in my real estate business, it was more establishing my own inner communication with myself from my own intuitive knowledge. And my book, Spy Your Way to Power and Success, is about seeing the future, seeing opportunities in the future, be able to go for those opportunities in the future. But I had to learn to listen to me internally, that intuition that is always existing, past, present, and future, to be able to take that same goal of, well, what is my goal with hearing this? If I'm going to be a good real estate investor, it's be able to be available to that inner knowledge and be able to move forward with my investments.
I love it, Linda. Man, we're gonna bring this up in the round robin. Don't let me forget. But social health communication also includes self communication.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Linda. We'll move on to our next guest and bring you back out in just a little bit. Next up, we have Dr. Joe. Dr. Joe, tell us, who are you?
Hi. Yes, hi everybody. I'm Dr. Joe Vertino. I'm a doctor only in, isn't that the best smile? Doctor only in Reiki. So it's not a PhD, but as I explained to him, I'm an expert in the field of medicine, and it's all what titles are about is all about serving, right? Serving the community, serving society. So in that way, I'm a doctor, and the founder of Reiki is Dr. Mikao Usui, the Japanese Buddhist monk 115 years ago, who had such a compassion, I guess, to lead into my main title as being a spiritual guide. He had such compassion. He was born into a family of samurai, and then he went to be a Buddhist monk. And then it wasn't enough. God or the universe called him further, and he went on a mountain alone to fast and pray for 21 days. And that's a long time to do that, right? To be alone and fast and pray. But he had this very big heart, and he happened to be a Leo, like I am, the lion,
Nice.
the zodiac. And so, God, we have Reiki today, a whole lineage, tradition, classes, books, videos, interviews, sessions, all of this because of that one man, so to speak. Outside of it being the whole universe and universal energy, right? So, what a wonderful way to listen. And I guess going into my main title as a spiritual guide, that is really about bringing us into a place of listening, which is a specific thing, and it's not a thing in the sense of an object physically or an activity physically, right? But it's still very important, right? There's a reason you're hearing the words. There's a reason it's kind of pinging, so to speak, like, catching you in your radar. So in that kind of way, I could answer in that way. Yeah, what am I about? What do I do? Is helping us to listen in that way. And then if you take it a little bit further logically, well, yeah, oh, this is cool. I feel maybe listening. I'm not boxed in. I feel freer about giving my serious
Hey,
attention
Dr. Joe, I'm going to
to.
stop you right there because I've got to ask you
Go ahead.
I got to ask you an important question, and I feel like you're already kind of answering it. So let's just let you answer it. Dr. Joe, if I wanted to improve my social health with communication, what tiny piece of advice would you give me?
So, oh, right. Yes, absolutely. Social health. Yes,
Communication.
improving social health with communication. I would say is, I'll answer this way. The two most important qualities of life I see are self honesty and humility. So being honest with yourself, and then is kind of like communication with yourself directly.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then being honest with the world is fostered through humility. So communication inside and communication outside, and in that way, it technically covers all the bases. So to give a kind of general answer in that way, um, and then yeah, I guess in context of you can start to going back to listening when you employ listening without changing or anything else, like in your life, your job, your marriage, to start with serious stuff, or the path you take in the morning to get your donut, right? Anything. And just kind of add this one little thing about listening. And then in that kind of way, that would be, yeah, that's my answer in the sense that it starts to open up a maturity in you. If it was not already present, it becomes more present, becomes more conscious.
I
And
love
that's
it.
not something that, yeah, it's technically a spiritual thing in the sense that spirit is non-physical, right? And that it doesn't have to do with our world in the sense of it's something you can purchase, but it's of great value. Still, it's a little bit of a paradox.
I like it.
But
Dr. Joe, where on your line did you learn this advice?
where did I learn it? Uh, I always go with this answer. When I was a child, I was very observant. I would sit and I would be in this place of observation mode, and I had a natural sense of contentment. And I noticed I also didn't have this clutching and aversion going on in myself. And so that being a deep listening, rooted in my being as a child. So it wasn't like I was influenced by an adult. It was a natural habit I fell into. So in that kind of way, that's technically my answer.
All
That the
right.
root of it was a natural thing in me that I gravitated towards, of course, because of wonderful parenting, housing, that I felt safe in my body. All of that led into to me being what I am in front of you today, as an influence. And of course, I pray that obviously our world can move in that direction. Obviously, the biggest prayer of all time. But yeah.
All right, Dr. Joe, we're going to bring Linda and Jeremy back out. Audience, this is the right time to ask questions if you have any. But we will start with Jeremy. Can you quickly refresh what your tip was for us?
Slow down in your communication. Take a deep breath. All right, and then move forward with what you got.
Linda, what are your thoughts on Jeremy's tip?
Oh, I 100% agree. I think if we just bulldoze our way through a conversation, we've missed half of it. I think slowing down, breathing is vital. Absolutely. Yes.
All right, Dr. Joe, what do you think about Jeremy's tip?
Yes, I think in that way that certainly, yes, slowing down in the sense that um, our intention, our attention and intention can be fixed or confused and going out too much right into the world. And this is, like I said, communication in that way is something that has a root, and we working to understand ourself, and the root of that is slowing. You could say is slowing down. That it's already real. It's already here. It's already present. So we're not trying to create it, but we're tuning in with it. So yeah, that's my agreeing point. Yeah, with Mr. Rodrook, and I loved what you said, everybody. Yes, it was wonderful.
I love it, Dr. Joe. Linda, refresh us. What was your tip for us today?
Listen rather than to just speak, and to set a goal with communication. Make sure you're on the same page with it.
Awesome. All right. Jeremy, can you quickly refresh? Actually, Dr. Joe. Sorry, I'm getting out of word. Dr. Joe, what are your thoughts on her tip?
Yeah, yeah, lovely. Yeah, I mean, in that way that I guess my mind goes into the very realistic place of there is we could say a very clear, what would that be, threshold. And this threshold is if people were listening to this video and they started to do it, right? This threshold. And I think in that way that, yeah, knowing that you matter and that we can make mistakes, but the courage, the greatest courage could be to it could seem like you're going against the whole world and everything, and all this stuff. And but all I'm doing is just starting growth, right? And it can be a very scary thing for some people, and in that kind of way that, all of this is wonderful. And that knowing that there's people that have ideas, that are experts, that are supportive, that have done this, that have crossed that threshold of self-care and growth. So yeah, I'm just elated to be one of those people and just kind of encouraging, people, to kind of let themselves kind of move forward with those real steps. Wonderful.
Jeremy, what are your thoughts on Linda's tip?
Yeah, so when I heard Linda say, listening, right? Stephen Covey in the 7 Habits talks about seek to understand before being understood. And if you give people the opportunity to be understood, got to listen, right? But you give them that, now they have that available to possibly give back to you as well and give you the opportunity to be understood. If we go in demanding to be understood, good freaking luck, because everybody's got their own concerns, doubts, fears, insecurities. So if we can show up in that presence and let me make sure I'm hearing you clear, let me make sure I'm understanding you, and we're feeding that stuff back, like that really is a master skill for success in any endeavor in life, because all of a sudden you plug into the network that's already there versus demanding somebody feed me first. Good luck with that.
Good point. Dr. Joe, can you quickly refresh what your tip was for us?
Yeah. Basically that so it doesn't cost money. It's free. Only you can do it. And other people, if they could or are would be supportive of it. But it basically comes down to this one threshold of listening. And that when you listen, what happens is these two most important qualities of life start to become more apparent. Self-honesty, right, which is towards you with the attention, and then humility, which is towards everything else. And in that way, it's a carry through all forever and ever and onto eternity. It's all just you. It's all the center of you that's oscillating around, that truth that we're pointing at. And then, yeah, that's really it. And I guess, yeah, you grow in faith and trust, not to be church and state, religious, offensive, in this broadcast in any kind of way. Excuse me. But basically that in that way that the beauty of creation, the beauty of existence is, I say God, to use a word, which is just a word, but the beauty of existence is, I see God's will as education. And that listening makes a lot more sense because people will look for a reason, right? Why listen? Why, Dr. Joe? Education. You can't have education without listening, right? It's impossible. And it's just your choice to turn the ear or not to turn the ear right now. That's all it is. And it's just going on all the time. And that's all it is.
Awesome, Dr. Joe. Great insight. Linda, what are your thoughts on
Thank
Dr. Joe's tip?
Well, there was a lot to unpack there. You're on so many different subjects, so I'll try to define it as the best way that I understood it anyway. But it feels like to me that you're saying, when we communicate, we're actually communing with another as well as ourselves. And I think the important part is if we can arrive at a place where that communing is without bias, and we can emerge in some form of communication that goes far beyond just the words we're speaking and the ego that we possess. Then we have something that's of grander value for us and for them as well. And we can begin to communicate on a different level than just words.
Massive. Jeremy, what are your thoughts on Dr. Joe's tip?
Yeah, I like the piece about listening internally, because we don't see the world as it is. We see the world as we are, right? We have our filters. They're almost always unconscious. So where we're getting into conflict, miscommunication, struggle, are we truly clear inside ourselves? Or is it a reaction to something unresolved, a doubt, a fear, an insecurity, a worry of loss? So being able to listen on those two levels of, like, as we're communicating outward, what's the sensation? What's the experience internally? It's a both and they both matter, and they're both important. And so, how many people do we see that, by all accounts to the world, are very, very successful, but inside they're crumbling, drug addiction, porn, drugs, suicide? Like, they've accomplished so much out there, but they've totally crumbled the conversation inside. And so it's really got to be a both and.
Awesome. All right, guys. Well, that brings us to the point in our show where we need to come up with a daily challenge. This is a task or series of tasks that it takes less than 5 minutes a day, costs $0, is available to anyone in the world that helps us improve our social health with communication. What ideas do you have?
Well, I have an idea of being able to find someone who has a differing opinion than yours and be able to listen to them for an extended period of time and you will learn a lot about your own bias and your own sense of tolerance. Because if we're only communicating with people who agree with us, we're not really communicating. So find someone who disagrees with you, find someone who has a different opinion, and just be able to sit and listen to that and accept that that is a valid part of maybe another viewpoint than you have yourself.
You really want to burn the world down today, do you, Linda?
Somewhat, I guess.
Oh, man, you're going to make everyone talk to each other. Oh, gosh, we're going to have a rough one. So this could be super broad. Obviously, I went political because of today's shit, but it could be anyone. I mean, it could be religion. That's going to be another. I mean, it depends on how open-minded you are, but it could be even just a marketing strategy. It could be a sport, if you don't like. So how can we make this? I guess I'm trying to pin down a little more precise. I think it's too general. Just say someone that disagrees with you. I mean, it could be a parenting style. Could be that kung fu is the worst form of martial arts. Tell me more about what you're thinking, Linda. How can we make this simpler?
It could be anything. I mean, it could be an opinion of a book the two of you read. One liked it, one didn't. I mean, if I have a conversation with my family, like my sister, she has different views than I have. So it could be anything with anyone. It could be, just, it doesn't matter who it is. But if you hear someone talking about something that you disagree with, or you have a different viewpoint, how present are you and available are you as a listening unit at that point, or are you just shutting doors and cutting them off? So I think it's just practicing that sense of tolerance, but also practicing a sense of listening without bias. So it could be anywhere.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, it could be anywhere, anyone, anytime. It doesn't have to be anything that's so controversial that it's your core value system. It can be anything.
So I think that this fits well with Dr. Joe and Jeremy. I mean, you guys can object, but I think a simple daily challenge is just, if you're like, hey, I'm ready to do my daily challenge, you sit down. Maybe it takes you a minute or 2 minutes to think of someone with a differing view. Could be someone in your phone, could be someone on socials, and then force yourself to just sit. Maybe you just ask them, you got to spur that conversation, and then you take the next 3 minutes where you just sit and listen. So it could be parenting style. It could be, a sporting event. It could be, oh man, you could get NFL teams in here and you got to listen to an Eagles or a Cowboys fan. Whew, that's a long 3 minutes. Um, but yeah, so I guess I would take a minute every day just to think of what I want to listen about or something that I'm for. And then viewers, you can choose how differing you want it. You could find someone polar opposite or find someone that just differs a little bit. You guys feel like that's a good daily challenge?
You could tweak that for if you want to just like dip your toe in the water. Go on social media, TikTok, Reels, Shorts. Go find a 1-minute clip of someone who has a differing view and just listen to it.
There you go.
And just listen to it and then see what starts to come out of you before you do the interaction. Because the interaction is kind of like sparring in martial arts, where I'm going to throw something, you're going to throw something. Well, before we do sparring, we do forms and mitt work, right? We're going to work on what does the energy feel like? How do we hit? Before we hit anything, we got to get our own structure correct. Because punching like this, no matter how much you practice, if you're punching like this, you're going to jack yourself up pretty freaking fast. So we got to fix the form. So by listening to social media stuff, podcasts, 1-minute clips, I don't understand this. I don't appreciate this. I don't like this. Cool. Dig in. What specifically upsets you? What specifically causes tension? What specifically makes you want to react or educate them or school them and what they got wrong? Cool. Where are you coming in like a bull in a china shop? Great. What's driving that? And that's a way you can just do that on your own. And then to Linda's challenge, ask. I'm interested. I don't know that I agree with this. I don't know that I agree with this. I don't know that I disagree with this. I'm interested and curious. Could you explain more? And just be open to that other frame of reference, because you may be saying the exact same thing, but just from a different angle. So it feels different, but it actually is the same thing. 6 of one, half dozen of another. No, it's 6. No, it's a half dozen. And people will literally beat each other senseless over phraseology when they're saying the exact same thing if we could get to a different vantage point.
Yeah, and I think by learning the communication skills of tolerance and getting out of our biasness, and I think social media is an excellent place. I'm glad you brought that up to do that with them. But I think as we begin to see our own communication ability, we will grow in being able to have a conversation, a civil conversation around even more difficult subject matter as we begin to do so in areas that is kind of safe to explore.
Awesome. All right, guys. Well, we came up with our daily challenge and did what we needed to do. So we're going to wrap this show up. And thank you guys so much for coming on. And hopefully we'll see you in a future show. Audience, thank you so much for watching. Yeah, that was a good one. So social health communication's massive. I feel like 99% of the time when I'm talking to someone in my coaching sessions or in consulting or whatever I'm doing, I'm always just, did you communicate that clearly? And maybe it's easier said than done. Hopefully you got a lot of tips here, taking breaths, taking pauses. But a little something maybe we didn't touch enough on it is you got to know what you want and articulate that. I feel like sometimes you want something and you're talking with someone and you try to maybe soften the blow, or maybe you think they're going to not agree with you, so you skirt around what you actually want. And sometimes clear, direct communication is actually the best way to do it. So hopefully you learned a lot about social health communication. Shout out to our B-level sponsors. We got, it's like Zaka Hydration Chews, InstaFarm Microgrow Home Units, and Pharmaceuticals. And never